Good evening. We'd like to welcome you to our November 16, 2017 City of Palatka Commission meeting. At this time, we're going to call this meeting to order. We'll have our invocation by Reverend Asa Greer, Executive Director of St. Johns River Baptist Association, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Logan Combo. Would everyone please stand at this time? I don't see Reverend Greer. Pastor Flag, do you mind?
Let us pray. Almighty and everlasting God, we humble our hearts before you this evening. We thank you for the magnitude of your love to us. Thank you, Lord, for the proceedings tonight with our mayor and commissioners and city leaders. Lead and guide and direct us all and keep us in the center of your will. Bless us and refresh us as only you can. We will give you praise and glory and honor as we seek to enhance the quality of living for all of our citizens. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Great job, Logan. We'll now move on. Roll call, please.
Mayor Hill.
Here.
Vice Mayor Brown. Present. Commissioner Borum. Present. Commissioner Campbell.
Present.
Commissioner McCaskill-Williams. Here. All members are present and accounted for, and we have a quorum.
Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from the October 26th meeting?
Motion to approve. Second.
There's two motions in 2 seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Moving on to our favorite portion, public recognitions. Item 1 on the agenda is public recognitions and presentations. First up, we're going to ask Interlochen Councilwoman Carolyn Bennett if she would please come forward at this time on behalf of National Hospice and Palliative Care Month as a representative for Haven Hospice. It's always good to have you here.
Thank you.
This proclamation reads as follows. Whereas 2017 marks the 50th anniversary of St. Christopher's House in London, widely recognized as the first modern-day hospice organization, and the 35th anniversary of the Medicare hospice benefit in the United States. And whereas the hospice and palliative care philosophy places the needs of individuals at the center of care, allowing patients and family caregivers to focus on quality of life, surrounded and supported by family and loved ones, despite serious and life-limiting illness. And whereas hospice and palliative care organizations are advocates and educators about advanced care planning that helps individuals make decisions about health care they would want to receive should they have the serious or life-limiting illness or if they were unable to speak for themselves. And whereas Haven believes that everyone deserves comfort, care, and compassion. And whereas in 2016, Haven had the honor and privilege to serve 16,802 individuals and families throughout North Florida. Now, therefore, I, Terrell Hill, Mayor of the City of Palatka, Florida, together with the members of the Palatka City Commission, do hereby endorse and proclaim November 2017 as National Hospice and Palliative Care Awareness Month in the City of Palatka and encourage all citizens to increase their understanding and awareness of care at the end of life and to observe this month with appropriate activities and programs. And witness whereof I've hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed to seal the City of Palatka, Florida, on the 16th day of November in the year of our Lord 2017. Terrell Hill Mayor, Commissioners Mary Lawson Brown, Rufus Borum, Justin Campbell, and Tammy McCaskill. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor in a second by Vice Mayor Brown. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Let's give a round of applause for him.
I I want to give thanks on behalf, can you hear me okay? On behalf of Haven Hospice for the proclamation. I am a volunteer for Haven Hospice, among other things, but it is an awesome, awesome organization to volunteer for. I have great respect for their work in our community and their support to the caregivers who are trying to provide end-of-life care for their loved ones. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Next up is an employee recognition. Mr. Reynolds, would you join me at this time? This is for our FGFOA, Certificate of Financial Achievement. There's a press release that comes along with the award. It says, Certificate of Achievements of Excellence in Financial Reporting has been awarded to the City of Palatka, Florida by Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada for comprehensive annual financial report. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in the area of governmental accounting and financial reporting, and its attainment represents a significant accomplishment by government and its management. An award of financial reporting achievements has been awarded to the individuals or departments designated by the government as primarily responsible for preparing the award-winning CAFR. The CAFR has been judged by the impartial panel to meet the high standards of the program, which includes demonstrating a constructive spirit of full disclosure to clearly communicate its financial story and motivate potential users and users groups to read the CAFR. And the award reads as follows. The Government Financial Officers Association Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting presented to the City of Palatka, Florida for its comprehensive annual financial report for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2016. Christopher Morrill, Executive Director, CEO. We want to present this to you, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, and I just want to thank my staff and all of the city staff that assist in preparing the CAFR. It's not just a one-person job, and it said employee recognition. It really should be citywide recognition, so just wanted to make that clear. So thank y'all.
For those of you who are unaware, I'd just like to say that we have the best finance director that you can have ever with Matt Reynolds. He's homegrown, he's dedicated, and he's awesome at what he does, and he's been a gift to this community. Next up is our recognition of our veterans. Our city employees who are veterans of armed forces. At this time, we want to recognize the veterans who are employees at this time in their various departments. From the airport, John Ewell, U.S. Air Force. If any of you are present today, we'd ask that you come in. Robert White, U.S. Army. Andy Rusnak, U.S. Navy. The Fire Department, Austin Davis, U.S. Army. Also, U.S. Navy, Kenneth Sugden. Police Department, Sergeant Cornell Brown, U.S. Army. Corporal Todd Bryant, U.S. Navy. Shirley Edwards, U.S. Army. Officer Justin Hale, U.S. Army. Sergeant Brian Hawkins, U.S. Marine Corps. Deputy Demetrius Johnson, better known as DJ, U.S. Naval Reserves. Deputy David Lazo, U.S. Navy. Sergeant Scott Reinhold, U.S. Navy. Officer LaVars McCullough, National Guard. Sergeant Andrew Snyder, U.S. Marines. Bobby Conyers, U.S. Marines. Parks and Maintenance, Timothy Brooks, U.S. Army. Streets and Utilities Maintenance, Raymond Herniak, U.S. Air Force. Johnny Lewis, U.S. Army. William Neely, U.S. Army. Wastewater Treatment Plant, Brian McCann, U.S. Armies. Also, if there are any other veterans in the audience at this time, could you please stand and be recognized? There's also one special to us who just retired, Mr. Melvin Register, who's also a veteran. Mr. Register, are you here?
He's somewhere.
He's up the back.
Yeah.
Again. This time we got a retirement recognition. Will Mr. Mike Farmer and his family members that are present, will please come forward at this time? Is Mr. Griffiths here? Come forward with you. Want your wife to come up with you?
She won't come up here.
Is Mr. Griffith back there? Jonathan Griffith? Mr. Farmer, this is presented to you, and the award reads as follows. Presented to Mike Farmer, Lead Mechanic, Wastewater Treatment Plant, June 3rd, 2001 to November 1st, 2017, with sincere appreciation for 16 years of dedicated public service to the citizens, officials, and staff of the City of Palatka, Florida, Palatka City Commission, November 16, 2017. And again, we want to thank you for your service.
Yeah, real quick. Hold on, Mike, just real quick. And I know I'm late, so I'm sorry for that. I realized what time it was, and I didn't want to miss this. Just to be quick, and I know these words probably don't mean or don't go far enough to express what you've contributed to the city, but the years you've put in, the few years I've been here, you've always been willing to roll your sleeves up and keep the nasty part of our critical infrastructure running when most people aren't willing to. So,
Well, I
thank you.
appreciate that. I just hope that in my 16 years that I made a difference, and I hope I made it a better place to live.
You obviously did.
Next up is Student of the Month. I guess I won't tell you it's been canceled. And just before we do Student of the Month, I'm going to ask Miss Patty Sheffield if she would come forward at this time and share an announcement with us.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad they're allowing me to speak before the Student of the Month because what I have to say involves parents. And as a result of that, we have many successful students here because their parents are involved. Communities in Schools is a program that helps struggling students and works with families to keep their kids in schools and to be linked with success after school. So to the parents that are here, I congratulate you. You are the #1 reason children stay in school is because of parent involvement. And this speaks greatly to that. So I applaud you. I'd also like to recognize two people. Our goal is student literacy, parent literacy, and student success in school. It begins in the elementary school. Commissioner Justin Campbell is on our board, and Jared Dollar, who's with Sunrise Rotary, has taken communities and schools under their wing. So we've been here for a number of years. We've changed our name a couple times, but our mission has always been the same, to help struggling students in school and to connect parents with the school. So your involvement is extremely important. So thank you, Mayor, for having me.
Thank you. Next up is the moment that you've all been waiting for, and that's Student of the Month. I'm going to take a point of privilege and ask past Mayor Carl Flagg if you come up and help me out with the presentation of these awards. Student of the Month is a great thing. It's one of the things that we love about our commission meetings, and it's just the opportunity to be able to celebrate our young people. And before we celebrate them, there are two special groups of people that we also want to say thank you to. And that first and foremost are the family members who are here, the support groups for these young people. At this time, any family members who've accompanied these young folks here today, would you please stand? It truly takes a village to raise a child, and this would not be possible without your support and the foundation that you've instilled in them. Secondly, our educators, who are usually kind of assembled around the back of the hallway. But our educators, more times than not, don't get a chance to hear thank you. And the job that you guys do, the sacrifices that you make, and the amount of time that you put into rearing our students to make them better citizens as well as better students. We just want to say thank you for your efforts, for your work, and for your sacrifices. Again, thank you to all our educators. It's not very often that you get a couple mayors in a room at the same time, so we have to take advantage of those situations whenever we can. So at this time, Pastor Flagg, we're going to go ahead and start the announcements of the awards. And first up on our list from Browning Pierce Elementary is Leslie Pina. Next up is Harry O'Neill Beatty from CL Overturf 6th Grade Center. From the Children's Reading Center Charter School, Sydney Sadler. From E.H. Miller School, Jaden Brown. From James A. Long Elementary School, Madison Montgomery. We're just going to have, at this time, we're just going to ask that a representative from the school come forward. We'll take a break. We'll take a recess. Once we take the recess, then we'll have the parents come up. You can take photographs as well. We'll take one picture for the newspaper, and then we'll have opportunities for family to take pictures during our recess. From Jenkins Middle School, Lainey Wilkinson. From Kelly Smith Elementary School, Elena Sullivan. From Mosley Elementary School, Tyaleah Young. I was close. My record is still intact. Palatka High School, Veronica Battles. From Penn Isle Baptist Academy, Wyatt Chapman. From Putnam Academy of Arts and Sciences, Jonathan Gibbons. From Palatka Edge High School, James Speaks. And last but not least, the young man who led us in the pledge, Logan Combo from Mellon Elementary School. So guys, we are extremely proud of you. Something that I always like to leave everyone with is a saying that I learned in 3rd grade. And I'm now 45 years old, and I've been saying that since I was 8. And it simply says, I am somebody. If my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, I know I can achieve it because I am somebody. You guys are truly somebody. You've made us all proud. We look forward to the great things that you're going to do in this community. And we want you to keep up the hard work, okay? Okay, thanks, Pastor Fly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, let me reiterate the importance of our students. Many say that they are our future, but they are our present. And when I say present, not just presents, but present, which means they are our gifts. And we celebrate you, we respect you, and we want you to be the spark and the incentivizer who creates synergy in your respective school. And by doing that, you are an achiever. As the mayor said, you are a believer, and tonight you are a receiver. So as a result of that, keep it up. Go Putnam County School District. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to take a brief recess. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting back to order. We'll move to item 2 of the agenda, which is our public comment. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. No action will be taken on items of discussion. First up, Melbourne Register, 2210 St. John's Avenue, Palatka, Florida. This one, we okay?
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Melvin Register. I live at 2210 St. John's Avenue. And first off, I want to thank the Commission and Mr. Mayor and our leadership here in town. You guys are doing an outstanding job. Thank you so much. Also, I heard that a minute ago that I was trying to be recognized as a veteran, and I want to say thank you for your recognition, and it was my pleasure
Thank you for
to
your
serve.
service.
Thank you, my pleasure to serve. And the reason why I'm here tonight is I understand that the city does not control this, but when the hurricane came through, it knocked out the red light at Mosley and St. John's Avenue. And I've been living on top of that hill there at 2210 for the last 29 years. And I have never had such a hard time getting out of my driveway as I've had since the hurricane came through. Now we have to back out of there because we can't pull around to the side street. We have to back out onto the roadway. And we used to, with the traffic light, we could count on a momentary break in traffic so that we could back out safely and go. Now it's not so much because people that come up that hill are accelerating as they come up the hill. And I believe it's going to be a safety issue there at some point or other. And I understand that that's not a city-controlled thing. But I would ask that the City Commission, respectfully, if y'all would, to use whatever leverage you can to get that traffic light reinstalled there. It's not I mean, I like the four-way stop is good, you know. I dig that, but as far as safety backing out of my driveway goes, my wife and my grandchildren have to back out of there too. So I just wanted to come down and just make y'all aware that there is an issue there. And I'm not the only one that lives on top of that hill. There's others that have to back out of there as well. And I appreciate y'all consideration. And thanks y'all. I love serving the city. I did love it, and I'm enjoying every minute of my retirement. Thank y'all very much. Y'all have a good evening, okay?
Mr. Cameron, I think I heard you say you had some comments.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring that matter up tonight in my public comments because I've gotten a lot of concerns or a lot of calls from individuals that frequent. I've actually myself have almost been hit like twice as a result of people not really paying attention that it's a stop sign and they're just simply going through. So I would definitely agree that we need to, whatever actions that we can take, that we hop on so that we can ensure the safety of our citizens at that intersection.
Amen. Mr. Griffin?
Would you like me to speak to us, sir?
Yes, sir.
Jonathan Griffith, Public Works Director. That signal, as I'm sure most of you are aware, is actually county maintained by interlocal agreement between the city and the county. From staff's perspective, we would need some formal direction from the City Commission to request the county, probably their Transportation Committee, to reconsider installation of the signal. I believe they would seek at least 75% reimbursement from FEMA to put the signal back up. But I believe that's the best path forward.
Can we want to do it as an emergency item?
Can it something that we can address so we can at least get the conversation going?
Do we have to make a motion now? Or do we have to do emergency item now?
We just need to, we need to send direction to staff. Dr. Flagg?
Carl Flagg, 1700 Oak Street, Palatka, Florida. The thing that I was concerned with this intersection of St. John's Avenue and Mosley Avenue is that this thing does not become a public opinion poll and a popularity contest, because no three citizens of Palatka are going to agree on what's best. From past experience, I think that we have to put safety above all things. There are times when the sun is at a certain point and people are not seeing well, and people don't have a problem when they can drive up with a rolling stop and keep going because they're trying to look at the other three intersections and judge it. But at the end of the day, I believe that since the precedent has already been set, that a signal has been there, we have not had issues. Since it is storm related, I don't know all of the technicalities that we need to go through, but I don't think we need to complicate this matter. I think we need to put it back to where it was, and the city needs to take a position on it. The county should not be negotiating and bargaining about whether or not we should do this, and I think it ought to go from commission to commission. Forget the committee. We need to get that for safety purposes, because when the liability issue come up, then that's when it's going to be a discussion about whether it's the city or whether it's the county. So at least put it back to what it was, and then y'all can negotiate taking it out instead of the storm taking it out. Thank you.
Appreciate your comment.
Thank you.
Anyone else here for public comment?
May I speak without one?
Sure, you just fill one out for me before you leave.
I'll have to find it.
And can you get one to Pastor Flagg as well?
Allegra Kitchens, 1027 South 12th Street. I think you just had your third citizen in Palatka that's agreed on something between Melvin, Carl, and me. I want that red light put back also. I have a similar problem to Melvin. I visit friends in that area, and it's very, very hard to pull out onto St. John's Avenue. Nighttime is not so bad because you can see the lights, but it's really, really difficult, and I would really urge you all to ask the county to put that red light back up. Thank you.
We've seen you drive, you can pull out pretty fast.
I know.
You drive like this Brown.
I've been through the intersection myself a few times, and there have been a few close calls or wherever as people approach the intersection, and a lot of times people are turning and going straight or whatever, so they get to be a little bit convoluted. So again, I think it's important that we have the light back, and I've had calls on it as well.
So,
Can we take this as an emergency item with us, and so that we can have some input or send some messages to somebody or find out what we need to do and start getting it done?
I think the commission just directed the city manager to take action.
Well, we need to take action, sir.
We have a consensus, I think, from most of us, that, from all of us, that we need to move forward with that.
There we go. Oh, I'm sorry. We did it by consensus. Sydney Sadler, we missed you earlier.
We didn't get our letter.
Let's get our recognition because you got here in time. So Sydney, come on up for us. Sydney Sadler from the Children's Reading Center Charter School is here. She was Student of the Month. Let's take a quick picture together. Are you okay with that? Come on up. Let's take a picture.
Special privilege.
Now, I gotta get down a little bit. We're gonna come over here. Hold our certificate up. Ready? See how long it takes to get back up. These are what they use. Watch this guy right here. No problem. Congratulations again, Sydney. Moving on to the consent agenda, item number 3. Consent agenda, adopt resolution 2017-13-07, authorizing execution of polling location agreement for Putnam County Supervisor of Elections for use of the Price Martin Center for 2018 elections and poll worker training. B, adopt resolution 2017-1208, declaring certain obsolete vehicles and equipment to be surplus and directing the city manager to dispose of surplus property in accordance with the city administrative procedures. C, adopt resolution number 2017-1309, authorizing execution of change order number 2 with Armstrong Contracting Services for the water taxi terminal building project in the net amount of $5,030.71 for a new total contract amount of $532,500.71. D, special events permit number 17-53, authorizing street closures to vehicular traffic for Hope 2 Mile Run 11/23/17 from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. Billy Houselman, agent for Hope FM and Ray Smith Incorporated. E, appoint Citizens Advisory Task Force fiscal year 2017 Small Cities CDBG application cycle, Larry Beaton, Wanda Brown, Allegra Kitchens, Seth Miles, Ernest Robinson, and Tammy M. Williams, Commissioner Liaison. F, appoint Jim Roach as City Representative for the Putnam County Recreation Task Force. Are there any items on the consent agenda that you wish to have removed?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion on the floor and a second by Commissioner Williams. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Also, is there anyone here from the Citizens Advisory Task Force? I see Ms. Kitchens and I also see Mr. Robinson. Would you please stand? Again, congratulations and thank you for volunteering. Moving on to item 4 of the agenda is a request for grant support, a match for air conditioning upgrade at 521 South 13th Street. Jared Dollar, Heart of Putnam Pantry, city-owned building, with a nominal fee.
Yes, you'll have to come up here. Jared Dollar, 113 Vintage Lane, currently the board chair for the Heart of Putnam Food Pantry. I did want to introduce the board members that are with me today: Charlotte Music, Marilyn Young, Richard Brinker, Suzanne Pickens, and then also Kathy Lloyd, who runs the operations of our little venture. I wanted to give you a quick update of what we're doing and then ask for your help. Currently, we're open 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. We were open Tuesday following the hurricane. Nobody knew we were open, but our volunteers were there. To remind you, we're an all-volunteer organization. We have no paid staff. We're currently seeing about 100 clients a day when we're open in about a 4.5, 5 hour time frame. So it's a lot of people very quickly, all receiving food. We did recently get a grant to provide food just for children. And in the last 30 days or so, we've given out 440 bags of food specifically for children of the clients that come in. This year, we started a small community garden. Keep Putnam Beautiful helped us fund it. When I say small, it's small. We grew some herbs, and what we did was educate the clients on using those instead of salt to season their food. So that helped with education. When we started in the building almost 2 years ago now, one of the things we promised is to be good stewards, being able to use the building. We added a parking lot, which was part of the condition that we had to do to be able to use the property at no cost to the city. We also extended a sidewalk, which helped our operation, and again, no cost to the city. One issue we're having is air conditioner. That building is not air conditioned properly, has no insulation in the attic or roof area. We actually had 2 people over the summer pass out from the heat, and it's also not safe for food. Obviously, if we don't have it stored properly, heat can be a problem. We wrote a grant to Clay Electric and asked for money to upgrade the air conditioner. I have a verbal commitment to fund it. It's going to be between $13,000 and $15,000, which includes adding insulation, adding a new outside unit, and I believe two split units inside. No money from the city. What they're asking for is a longer lease. Currently, we're at a 1-year lease. They want us to be able to have a 3 to 5 year lease. Basically, if they're going to put the money into it for our benefit, they want to make sure we can use it for longer than a year. So my ask is for the city to at least consider that. If I can get a commitment that I can go back to Clay Electric and say that they're willing to do that, or at least talk about it, I can get it in writing from Clay Electric exactly what they want. Obviously, I don't want a 3-year lease or 5-year lease without assuring the funding's there. I would suggest that we could do our 1-year lease in December with the idea that we could amend it if we're awarded the lease for a longer term.
Well, I make a motion to do the 3-year, we'll have Mr. Holmes, city attorney to, I guess, maybe look at it and address it. Would that be appropriate at this point or this juncture to do, I guess, do a 3-year and look into a 3-year? Or just?
I would not have a problem under the circumstances. Yep, you've made the determination that it's a public purpose. And there's an investment that's being made in a building that would theoretically survive the term of the lease that you're speaking to, either 3 or 5, I would assume. I think that air conditioning system would have a life expectancy beyond that. So from my perspective, I would not have a problem with that under these circumstances, either 3 or 5.
So motion on the floor in a second. Is there any further discussion?
I think your motion said 3 years.
3 years.
I think he said 3 to 5 years.
He said 3 to 5 years.
So would you take into consideration 3 to 5 years, depending on what the request is of Clay Electric?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
I'll restate the motion. We'll take in consideration the 3 to 5 year lease agreement with the Heart of Putnam for your new venture, for 3-year contract.
And I'll second that.
So there's a motion to extend the lease for a period between 3 to 5 years, but there's no specific term. Are we saying?
We'll do 3. Well, we'll do the
3 year, is a motion, so I just want to make sure I understand. So your motion is for a 3-year lease, if that's acceptable. If not, then do 5?
Yes.
But can we?
Well, we would have to wait and depend on what Clay Electric.
Clay Electric, verbally they asked for 5.
5, okay.
But they said that they may be able to do 3. They have to go back to committee and ask them.
Okay, but then if we say 5, I don't know how that would sit with our.
It wouldn't trouble me as long as the use and the purpose of the organization doesn't change.
Okay, well, I'll recall my motion with the 3 years, and we will amend it and change it to 5-year agreement with the Heart of Putnam.
It has to be worked out with our attorney and.
He said he didn't have a problem. He guess he
The reading is January 1st.
Yeah, it'll be on the agenda in December.
So we can address it in December?
Okay.
And can I, one clarification?
So can we table it to a time certain?
They need a letter so they can get it done.
If I get Clay Electric in writing to commit to the grant, then timing would just be.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got a motion for, we got a motion to, we got a motion to extend the lease agreement to 5 years, and is that, will you be okay with us bringing that back for approval at the December meeting? As a part of your motion?
Not a problem at all.
Okay, is that correct to say? Okay, very well. We got a motion on the floor for direction to extend the lease agreement to 5 years in December. Is there any further discussion? Questions called, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much. Thank you. Believe me, it is hot in the summer.
We want to thank you all for coming.
Hey, let's give a round of applause for Heart of Putnam. Number 5 is a request to assist with clubhouse facility to assist persons with mental difficulties. Zenny Bassett and Alex Sharp.
Good evening, I'm Alex Sharp. I own Putnam Psychotherapy. I've been a practicing therapist in this town for the last 18 years. We have found a necessity of there's a lot of people that don't know where to go, how to go, and we think a clubhouse on the international format would be very beneficial to the town because it would allow us to bring the people in, determine what the problems are, get them a Social Security or whatever benefits they can be had. I got a couple of gals that are really good, and they speak good schizophrenic too. So, we're hopeful that we can do a lot of things with this. Train people to take care of their own finances, work with the Palatka Housing Authority, trying to find them homes that make sense. But our biggest problem right now is we don't have a building. We don't have an address. And right now it's all coming out of my pocket, and it's getting a little short. So I'm asking the city for some help with a building that they feel would be appropriately located so that we don't crush the downtown. We don't want to hit it too hard. But we do want to be in reasonable reach of downtown because these people are ambulatory. They're not in vehicles. And that's where we stand right now. Mr. Best and I have been working on this for, gosh, a year. Yeah.
At least.
So.
I am a consumer. I have a mental illness myself, so recovery is possible. I was a public servant when I got injured on the job, and like the police officers, the fire department, the EMS people, they can use our service because if you don't know, you don't know. And if you're with mental illness, you're not aware. Let me see, the most fascinating thing about mental illness is everyone else will know something is wrong with you except you. And then after that, the denial comes in. No, not me. And then the medication. And then therapy. So we have a pattern set up for recovery, but the general public doesn't know what it is. And we'd like to have a center where if you've ever been diagnosed with a mental illness in your lifetime, you can come in and you can use the services that we have available. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions? Any questions from the commission?
My question is staff is, I don't think the city got any big bills.
Yeah, got one in the whole town, huh?
Not that I know of. Unless somebody can tell me. I don't think we got any big bills.
I don't know of anything that's available at this time.
Okay.
And if we had a building, what size are you looking for?
It doesn't have to be a monster. It's just basically a room the size of this would be fine.
Have you talked to the county?
That's next. But we're located in the city, so we thought we'd start here first. Because basically what we're hoping for ultimately is one in Interlochen, one here, and one in Crescent City. Because, as we know, people don't have cars. People don't have the money for gas. So as close as we get to them, better off they are. So you gotta start somewhere, and this is where we started.
Putnam County is a beautiful, beautiful city. Palatka is a beautiful city. Let's keep it that way. I saw a man walking down the street the other day, a black, white t-shirt on, one pants legged up, rolled up, no shoes on, a big bump on his head.
The other side of this is we're gonna coordinate with the Sheriff's Department for the prisoners. As you know, our jails are the largest insane asylum that we have.
Thank you.
And we want them to come to see us so that we can work with them and get them headed in the right direction so we cut down on recidivism. The other side of that is we can spot the dangerous crazies too. And we got a few of them. Be nice to have a heads up before it turns into a news at 6, film at 11. So, if you have any ideas, fine. Do you have any questions?
At this time, it may be appropriate for us to direct staff to look at some options, but I think this takes us also into item number 6 on the agenda as well. So before we move to item 6 on the agenda,
I'll make a motion that we have staff to look at any vacancies or anything that we can do to assist in this effort.
Thank you. Thank you.
First on the floor, second, is there any further discussion?
Question.
Questions called, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 6 of the agenda, is a discussion about a mental health task force. Also, this task force would deal with issues of homelessness. One of the things that's becoming very prevalent in our community is the significant number of homeless people that we're seeing on a daily basis in Palatka. One of the byproducts of poverty is mental health issues. And so we've got to look at we've got to start to look at the avenues of what we can do proactively to deal with some of these issues. Over in the city of Daytona, they've had a significant issue as it relates to homelessness, significant amounts of mental illnesses and other things. Sometimes crime can be the byproduct of it, but sometimes all it takes is a listening ear or someone with a consciousness to be able to help fix some of these situations. And so one of the things that we want to do, I've talked to Dr. Sharp about this situation, and one of the things that I'm suggesting is that we create a task force that addresses mental health and homelessness and some of the other issues that are very significant that may be byproducts of poverty or mental illness, and see what we can do to bring suggestions back to be proactive within the community to deal with those issues. The health department has been very proactive in dealing with some of those issues, but again, citizen input becomes a very critical component of that because there are many folks within the community that have expertise outside of what we have in this room. And so that's kind of the discussion that we wanted to have on that and kind of get some input from the commission as to where we go with this.
Well, I do know St. Augustine had, I think it was on the news about a couple of days ago where they have quite a bit of homelessness and people are sleeping on the streets and different things. So they're in the process of looking into it. Maybe we can reach out to them. I know they're trying to do something about that right now, so we can maybe partner with them and maybe some of the other ones to see what we can do to help in that respect.
I was looking at TV today and a couple of tail end of it. They have a group, I think it's a national group, that's working on mental health because of all the shootings and things we had. And it was www.nari.org. And they said anybody wanted information about it could pull them up, and they might have some information to help us with how to solve the problem and where to start.
Any other comments? With that, I entertain a motion for permission to start a mental health task force.
Another motion to start a mental health task force. You see that, Palatka?
Second.
Motion on the floor in a second. Any further discussion? Question call, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Moving the agenda to public hearing, item number 7.
Now, before we go, is there any way that we can write a letter to our governor and our legislators, and we tell them of our concerns about mental health and alcohol and drug abuse. We had two very nice buildings and people working on it here in town. Somebody told me that either they cut back or closed, and people work very hard to get those 2 units there to help people. So is it anything that he takes, the governor takes all this stuff to bigger cities and forgets all smaller ones and small counties? Can we as a commission and even citizens take some action to bring this to their attention and ask them for some support?
I mean, I definitely think that we can contact our representatives to get that information there, as well as the governor's office, to address the concerns, particularly as it relates to Stewart Martin and the closing of the treatment program. And really, some of the lack of essential services in this community. I think we can definitely do that.
And I make a motion that we do vote here. I think we need to start before then, because you know, government moves slow. I think the kids supposed to either be there to back it up, but I think you need to shake them a little bit, wake them up a little bit. Now's the time when they said that somebody the other day that had gone and killed his wife and went and shot up some places was because he had problems. And now that it's in the forefront, I think they need to know that we have a definite concern about it and start, and it may be where we can get some funding and some other stuff to help get it done, or get those 2 buildings open back up and people hired, because we have folks that have worked there for years that lost their job.
No, that's fine, 'cause I agree. We've got, from the professional side, we have a lot of, and I think Mr. Holmes probably sees this as well. There are a lot of folks in this community who need essential services, particularly in the mental health field, who are sent to the far ends of Volusia County, and sometimes even farther than that. We just had someone sent to the Panhandle because the services aren't here, particularly youth services, and in terms of youth counseling, things of that nature. And those are the things that, we have to look at and figure out ways to kind of meet the needs of the people. So there's a motion on the floor at this time.
Second.
There's a second. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Questions called. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Item 7 on the agenda is for our public hearing. Ordinance extending and renewing the electrical franchise agreement with Clay Electric Cooperative, second reading.
An ordinance of the Commission of the City of Palatka, Florida, extending and renewing an electrical franchise previously granted to Clay Electric Cooperative Incorporated and providing an effective date.
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. We'll now open the floor for public hearing. Is there anyone here for public hearing? Seeing no one, we'll close public hearing. Is there any further discussion? Questions called. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Item 8 on the agenda, ordinance amending the police officer pension plan benefit amount, Chapter 185, extra multiplier. First reading.
An ordinance of the City of Palatka, Florida, revising the Code of Ordinances of the City of Palatka, Florida by revising Section 2-250.185B, Police Officer Benefit Group Pension Amount Formula, and providing an effective date.
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Is there anyone here for public hearing? Seeing no one, we'll close public hearing. Is there any further discussion? Questions called. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 9 of the agenda, an ordinance amending sign code section 62-11, wall graphics, to extend the allowed projection of wall graphics from exterior walls from 12 inches to 30 inches. First reading.
An ordinance of the City of Palatka, Florida, amending sign code section 62-11, allowing wall graphics to extend up to 30 inches out from exterior walls, providing for severability and providing an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second. Mr. Crowe?
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, just happy to answer any questions. The applicant for this is Burger King, and the gentlemen from Burger King are here if you have any questions from them.
Thank you. We're now from the board for public hearing. Is there anyone here for public hearing? Yes, sir. Come forward this time.
Mr. Mayor, members of the commission, my name is Dan Fitzpatrick. I'm the chairman and CEO of Bravo, Florida, which is the petitioner in this case. We recently bought the Burger King restaurant here in Palatka, and actually, in addition to that, 8 other units, which we would call in our greater Gainesville market. It's the first time I've been able to come before this commission. I do this quite a bit as we're actively building new units and remodeling all over the state, from as far down as Fort Myers all the way through your market, Tampa, St. Pete, over on the East Coast, et cetera. And I really just wanted to remark for a moment that I attend a lot of these, and rarely do I see the kind of enthusiasm at a city council meeting that I saw here tonight. Your honoring of the students, your retirees, makes me feel terrific about the significant investment we're making in the community. And I just wanted to make that note. I'd be happy to take any comments that you have. We're very excited about what we're doing. We appreciate the support that we've got from the staff, and in particular this minor modification to your code. What we're really asking for would be much more consistent. This particular application is also going in markets all over the state. We're pretty proud of it. It's in Gainesville on Newberry. If you're down for a football game or visiting university, you'll see it displayed, and it's in various other communities here in the state. So again, in advance, I appreciate your consideration of doing this, and we look forward to getting our restaurant open in mid-December. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
How many jobs?
Well, frankly, there'll be an increase in the work base there of about 30%. I'm doing the math in my head, probably closer to 40%. Maybe we should get one of those children to come back. They can help me with the math, but it should be about 40%. It'll have a significant lift in our volume, and I think the annual wages in that restaurant will approximate about $750,000 of wages for the staff that'll work there. And again, we're very proud of it. It's a very successful restaurant before, and we'll get it modernized in a way that'll be much more successful going forward.
Why did you say he's the applicant? This is not a special exception or a conditional use. It's a modification of the ordinance that would apply to everybody, correct?
Correct. This is what we call an application to amend the municipal code. So we allow people to come in and request to change the municipal code, so they are requesting this.
I may have missed, but no, you didn't. I think Thad said that you were the applicant, and I'm just not used to having an applicant, a private applicant, apply for code modification. This is going to be across the board and apply to anybody. Correct?
That's correct.
And Planning Commission approved.
It's a sign code change, so it's not Chapter 94 zoning code. It doesn't go to the planning board.
Okay, I'll have a problem with that.
Sir, before you leave, we do tours, and either the mayor or myself would like to take you on a tour of our town. You might want to spend a little more money here with us.
Message received.
On your logo, on the logo that you see in here, is it going to be a fix at the top 30 inches out, like it's displayed here? Or?
Exactly like that.
Just like that?
Yeah, it wedges in into the corner of the building.
Okay.
Here's the actual picture of the unit in Gainesville.
Oh.
I was told that this Burger King is one of the more successful of the 8 that you purchased. Is that accurate?
Well, there was 9, but you're exactly right.
It was hard to see it.
I understand.
I thought it was going to be right in the center, but yeah.
That's right.
My grandson liked it.
And we're adding a playground that your grandson will like.
Are you really?
Yes.
Are you indoor?
An indoor playground.
Is it 2 stories?
Yes,
It's going to be neat.
they will be.
You know, we're trying to work towards tourism, so you can send some of your folks and have some of your meetings here with the group. So we have a boat that will take you out on the river, and we've got 20-some-year-olds.
If that's part of the tour, I'm in.
And if you'll buy in now, we'll let the mayor take it instead of the assistant vice mayor.
Thank you so much.
They mess with me, but
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm keeping the eye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else here for public hearing? Seeing no one, we'll close public hearing. Is there any further discussion? Questions called, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item number 10 on the agenda, ordinance extending 2008 Economic Recovery and Incentive Program to place a moratorium on collection of impact fees adopted in 2007 for a period not to extend 2 years. First reading. Item A, discussion on reinstatement of impact fees. Mr. Crowe. You can read the caption while it's coming up.
An ordinance of the City of Palatka, Florida, amending City of Palatka Ordinance Number 08-20, the City of Palatka 2008 Economic Recovery and Incentive Program, extending the suspension of collection of the city's parks and recreation facilities impact fees, fire rescue impact fees, road impact fees, and law enforcement impact fees for a period not to exceed 2 years, providing for notice of impact fee rates upon expiration of the suspension period and/or reinstatement of collection of suspended impact fees, whichever comes first, providing for severability and providing an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor in a second. Mr. Crowe.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, just very briefly, this is our 2-year renewal of the moratorium on the remaining impact fees. And keep in mind, we still have the water and sewer impact fees in place, as they have been, and that's been very successful. One task that we have to do before we determine if we can implement these impact fees is to basically revise the study that was done in 2007, which projected a runaway growth for the city, and we have to kind of adjust it accordingly because we can't support the high fees that are in place. So what we propose is essentially use the 2 years to essentially look at the fee structure and what they could be, and we come back in 2 years, we would have some good documentation to support those kind of adjusted fees.
The county doesn't have any fees in place right now, do they?
That's my understanding. That's what Brian Hammonds told me, yes.
One of the things that I'm really concerned with is, it seems as though we're finally getting some momentum in the community. I think it's premature for us to even look at, reinstatement of impact fees at this point. I think one of the incentives, I actually talked to a developer today, and one of the motivating factors for him, considering some of the other factors that are out there, is the fact that we don't have the impact fees in place. It becomes an attractive opportunity for developers to come into an area which may have some perceived risk and as it relates to certain industries. And so I'm definitely for extension at this point. Is there any, at this point, I'll go ahead and open the floor for public hearing. Is there anyone who wants to speak to public hearing to this matter? Seeing no one, we'll close public hearing. Any further discussion from the commission?
I got a question. What impact does it have on us getting stuff to be shovel ready if businesses want to come in here without infrastructure?
Well, the shovel-ready concept is a term that's not defined a whole lot, but essentially, in my understanding, shovel-ready means the utilities are there, everything is ready to go. It doesn't really include the payment of fees and user fees and whatnot associated with development. It just means the land is ready, it's entitled, it's got the zoning, it's got the utilities, and all you got to do is essentially pull a permit. But it doesn't, to my understanding, mean that there's no fees associated with development.
Infrastructure there.
This is infrastructure. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Well, I call for question then.
So much for questions. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously. Moving on to item 11 of the agenda, discussion and direction, red light camera program. At this point, I think we're all aware that the red light camera program is up for reconsideration. We've got a representative from ATS here. We were recently approached with ATS with a contract extension. Red light cameras have been something that's been extremely hot topic in Palatka, to say the least. My position has not been one as an advocate for it. I think I've kind of gone on record with that. But I want to make sure at this time that we give an opportunity for the parameters of the extension to be brought forward. Perhaps you want to come up and maybe talk a little bit about it.
Hi, Mayor. For the record, my name is Brad Drescher. I'm a senior account manager with American Traffic Solutions, and I'm based out of the city of Orlando.
Yes, thank you. It's always a pleasure to have you here. Brad's kind of become a mainstay at our city commission meetings over the last few years. And so, I think you want to give some information?
Yes, absolutely. I'm not really sure where you wanted to go with this. Just a quick program overview for you. You currently have 6 cameras in the city. We're looking at downsizing the cameras by 3 cameras, so we're taking half of them away. You have 3 camera sites that are responsible for 80% of all the violations now anyway. So those are the 117 and 9th Street and, I'm sorry, yes, 17 and Reed, which is 9th Street, US 17 and 19th Street, and US 17 and 2nd Street. What we're proposing to scale down and get rid of the cameras on State Road 20 at Krill Street and Palm Avenue, St. John's Avenue and SR 19, and 17 and 11th Street. Your current recidivism rate is 11%, so 89% of anybody who gets a violation in the city of Palatka does not get another one. 73% of all your violations are from non-residents that do not live in the city of Palatka. So people traveling through. This is a violator-funded program. In public safety, there's not too many programs that are out there that are violator-funded. This isn't something that you put in your budget. So the monies that the violators are giving you are extra monies for the city to spend on safety and improvements throughout the city.
And with the changes in the program, what are we looking at from as?
Well, currently it would save you $37.50 a site. So with the 3 sites, it'll save the city in the current invoicing $11,250 a month, and it'll save the city $135,000 a year out of your current invoicing with the current caps rate that you're having.
Mr. Reynolds, based upon the stuff that's in place, what are the proposed revenues if we extend the program?
I believe when we sat down and had this discussion, taking into account the decrease in expenses of about $135,000, those 3 cameras are generating, I think it was about 20%?
About 20%, correct.
And so the net effect would be if citations occurred at the same rate that they did last fiscal year, it would be approximately $100,000 net to the city.
So that's not including the work Chief can come forward from.
That's correct. That does not include staff time spent administering the program. That's just cost to the state, cost to ATS, and cost for our red light hearing magistrate.
These 3 cameras.
Just
Do you have any other questions for Mr. Drescher this time?
No, just asking, the 3 cameras that we're talking about, that would be the net, what we've been.
It would be an
collecting
additional $100,000 over what we did last year, which was probably the best year.
Yeah, I think last year, you would know the records more than me, but it was about $130,000.
Yeah.
There are a couple things that are of great concern to me. The first being safety, more so than anything else. All the studies that I've seen said that there's an increase in accidents at red light camera intersections. Have you seen an increase in the last year?
Well, I can tell you, Palm Coast did away with their program earlier this year. They've had 2 traffic fatalities at 2 of the intersections that used to have red light cameras. The city of Claremont had 5 cameras in their city. They got rid of them in January, and in March they had a fatality of a student at one of them intersections as well. But yes, there is a decrease. Increase in crashes is about 20% nationally for cities that get rid of their programs.
But there's also an increase nationally of about 3.5%, if I'm accurate, on accidents of red light cameras as opposed to other intersections throughout the country, based on the National Highway Safety Study.
Yes. There's a lot of studies out there that determining. I know the state of Florida does an annual report every year, and a lot of the issues with that is actual crashes at intersections have went up 3% with the red light cameras, but crashes at all the intersections without them have went up almost 30%. So it's still a lot less. It is an increase, but it's a lot less than the intersections without cameras.
Thank you, Mr. Judge.
Thank you. Appreciate your consideration.
Chief.
Yes, sir. Jason Shaw, Chief of Police, Palatka Police Department.
You've had an opportunity to also look at the proposed extension of this program at this, and I guess more so than anything, kind of giving an insight as to how this has affected the police department, the program overall, and if you have any recommendation as it attached to the program.
Yes, sir. I have had an opportunity to review the amendment. Also had opportunity to speak with Captain Williams, who's over the red light program at this time, to be able to get enlightened on different statistical data that we received over the 5-year period for the red light cameras. With also speaking with Mr. Reynolds, Captain Williams, knowing that the red light cameras was put in for safety originally to help prevent traffic accidents, and not being able to ascertain any additional information where we've been able to increase safety where the red light cameras have been put in. We've increased awareness, but not necessarily safety. We've also had some near misses. There's some pluses with it, but there are some minuses as well. The pluses, we're allowed to review stuff that happens in that intersection, whether it be other traffic crashes, whether it be vehicles that may come through the intersection that may have been involved in other crimes. But as it relates to the financial perspective and what we've received from it during that period, it doesn't, or we haven't been able to provide from the conversation with Mr. Reynolds where it would be something that would be beneficial for us going forward. The reduction of the cameras is a possibility that we would get it, but it's not something that is a definite. With that and taking all that into consideration, it was my recommendation that we not move forward with the amendment or signing the new amendment to renew the red light cameras.
And I have to say this. One of the things I see as it relates to red light cameras is really the frustration of citizens overall with these cameras. One of the things that I'm looking at, that I'm really hoping that happens in the city of Palatka, is that we're inviting to individuals coming in here. We have an opportunity to increase tourism. But I also want to be careful because, although the numbers kind of indicate that, 70+% of the tickets are from individuals outside of this community, that doesn't mean that they're not outside of Putnam County. That means they're outside the city limits of Palatka. And red light cameras have, to me, in many ways, been a kind of a divisive measure. Along the way, there have been appropriate steps taken. ATS, actually acquiesced and got rid of the Right on Red program. And we had conversations over the years about ways to reduce that and reduce the impact to citizens. But, I've been on record from day one. It's not something that we've been a proponent of from my perspective. And it just seems to be the time is right for us to move forward. We understand that there are other methods used to increase safety at those lights. And my position is that I agree with staff's recommendation. I'll entertain other discussion from the commission at this time.
I'm not a big fan of the red light camera, but at the same time, we also need to take into consideration that if our community as well as other people know that those cameras are removed, then the possibility there's additional risk that's going to be associated with knowing those cameras are gone. And that's my only fear as it relates to cameras being removed. Human life is very important, and like the chief said, that hey, they can review if there is an infraction in the intersection. If you remove those cameras, then they don't have that visibility. But at the same time, again, I'm not a big fan of them, but I do know there are some pros and cons. I think we just need to weigh it out.
I'm against them. I've been very vocal about them from day one, even prior to me serving in this capacity. I've had the privilege of, while in Tallahassee, working along with an attorney on red light litigation. So again, I am definitely against it. I don't think that anyone has the intent of running a red light to cause a traffic accident. You have individuals that still do it even though they know a red light camera is there at present. So, I mean, if you are a citizen with driver's license, we know that we should obey all laws regardless of if a red light camera is there or not. So I understand the pros and the cons as everyone has stated prior to, but I think for our community, we don't want to be known to greet people with a red light ticket when they come to our city, if it's not necessary. And a lot of times, you know, I've paid a lot of money to red light tickets. Not like that, not like that, not like that. When I say paid a lot of money to them, it was one of those split decisions. Do I stop on brakes to cause an accident, or do I take $158 to save a life of my life? So I think it's those kind of decisions that even if there was a light there, those are kind of decisions that still have to be made. So again, I am down for them, and that's just my position.
Anyone else? Seeing no further comments,
Are you talking about the commission or the audience?
Audience, you feel like speaker card?
Yes, sir. Add number 11 to my card, please. Number 11. I have been concerned about the image of our city from the time many of our streets were dirt. I'm just as concerned now. Yeah, Carl Flagg, 1700 Oak Street, Palatka, Florida. I'm just as concerned now about our image. There have been communities throughout our state whose image is negative because of situations and circumstances, speed traps, red light cameras, etc. I believe it's the responsibility of our legislators is to make sure that we turn every negative into a positive. That red light camera situation is a big negative in this community. It has been from day one there, and I implore, encourage, and beseech you, please, do not take us any further down this road with red light cameras inside the city limits of Palatka. Since it's not a revenue stream, it's only a safety. Safety is supposed to be first. Let's enhance what we do for safety. Let's use some DOT signage in the various places and all. And let's celebrate them cameras coming down so that we can promote safety in this city. And I thank you all for talking good. I'm waiting on the direction that you all are going to give. I have confidence that you're going to do that. But it does not make sense to me, since some inherited this situation, for you all to take this further. So it's an opportunity now to correct something that is not good for our city. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir.
If you'd waited just a couple more minutes, you would have seen the motion, because I'm fixing to take the motion that we say bye-bye to.
And I'll
certain
second.
red light cameras. I can go to the grocery store in peace and get some when they open. And nobody will be ringing my bell after dark.
So there's a motion on the floor to discontinue the red light camera program.
Second.
There's a second by Commissioner Campbell. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
Questions called. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Past Mayor Flagg, can you remain calm in the room, please, sir?
I'll probably leave.
Moving on to item number 12, City Manager Search. Item A is an update on search expansion. And item B is a new timeline.
Thank you. As has been reported and as I've notified each of you, there was a decision from the stand.
So just so they can get you on the camera.
On camera, so we can hear you better.
Your staff city manager search committee, which consists of myself and the city attorney and Ms. Robinson, in the back room, she's here. we looked at the amount of applications that we had received on November the 4th, which was right before the due date of November the 8th. We didn't believe that we had an adequate pool of candidates, so the decision was made to extend the deadline to November the 30th and expand the search, and that has done exactly what it was that we needed it to do. Would you like to weigh in on the effect that that had?
Deborah Robinson, Human Resources. By extending the timeline, we were able to receive a more adequate and a better pool of applicants that were coming through. Initially, we started getting applications that were not even related to the job. By extending it, we've actually started to get in some really good candidates now. So November 30th, 5 p.m. is the deadline for all applications.
As far as the committee, the search committee, they've all been notified. I've asked them to give me their schedules because, of course, December is a holiday month. We're looking at either the 7th or the 8th to have the search committee meet, and that's going to be December 7th or the 8th. Hopefully, we'll have a list of candidates to send to the commission by December the 14th. One of the complaints that I have been receiving is that the decision that in the search process not to distribute any of the applications until after they were all received. And so we've had a request to start distributing those incrementally as they're received so that they're not having to digest them all at once.
How many applicants do we have so far?
63.
Which is double what we had.
And we can attest that to using the different outlets that we've actually used versus the previous.
Yes, we had 36 when we decided to expand the search, and that was after we'd been taking them for 1 month.
Correct.
And so we expanded the search about 10 days ago, but they've doubled.
That is correct.
Any direction for staff as it relates to dissemination of applications?
I would like mine electronically.
Not for you, for, as to sending them out, and not all at one time?
Again, electronically.
Are you, can I get a motion? We've got to amend basically the process that we have. If staff is to start distributing those applications out to the committee now as opposed to waiting for an additional until the end of the month to do so.
So what you said, I would make the motion that we go ahead and start disseminating that information to the committee so that we'll have ample enough time to go ahead and start the review process.
Thank you.
There's motion on the floor in a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
I should do a timeline of events. You want to give that for us?
We're still working with the search committee and the search expert on setting up the entire timeline, but we're looking at either the 7th or the 8th for the search committee to meet and narrow down the applicants to send 10 to the commission on December the 14th. And then we'll schedule the interviews following that date.
I can tell you at one point, I was getting worried about what we were getting in. And I almost had to come back here and ask you guys to see if I could throw my name in the hat at some point. But we're going to go ahead and move forward with this process and see what we can get. So as far as any other discussions as it relates to this item? Seeing none, before we move the agenda, I want to make sure that we recognize Julie Suggs for being here tonight. It's good to see you, Julie. And do you mind introducing the guy that's sitting next to you?
I need to introduce him.
Sir, would you come up for a second to introduce yourself?
Speak the card, please. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate it. I believe everybody knows who I am, but I'm Terry Sykes, the county administrator, and I'm here in support of Jonathan Knight. He wants to do a project, so I told him we do what we could for him tomorrow. So Your red light camera. Not the red light camera. I texted you earlier, so.
So Terry, I know we said our goodbyes before we want to formally congratulate you on your new job and the job that you've done for the city.
Thank you,
And
sir.
so thank you for the work you do.
Did you hear what he said? Everybody already knows who I am. I guess I just start being, my name's Terry, or like Cher or Elvis.
And we're gonna continue to pray for you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. We're getting close to the end. Reports, Chief. Grimes. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you too, sir. Thank y'all. Everybody know our marine boat's back in service. We've got a new motor put on it last week, so we're back up and running on the river. Got a little bit more testing to do on it, but other than that, it's ready to go. Got a lot of projects we're moving forward with at the fire department. We spent a lot of time in the schools last month doing fire prevention stuff. I think we gave out over 1,000 hats and coloring books to students throughout last month, so we visited quite a few. All of our school inspections are done, with the exception of the transportation division. So all that stuff's done. Our station remodel project is moving right along. Invite you to come by someday, probably after tomorrow we'll be finished. All the stuff was done by in-house labor. So come time and take a look what they did. Our guys did a fantastic job with it. So
Which station?
the downtown station. It's the first time I think it had been touched since probably in the 50s. And our guys had a vision that they wanted to do, or 60s whenever it was built. But our guys had a vision they wanted to see done, and then they put all the labor and effort in themselves and got it done. So invited everybody in to take a look at it.
What did you do?
Did a complete kitchen remodel. They removed a wall so you can visually see it throughout the station. Put in some new countertops. Partnered up with some local partners and did the cabinet resurface. We haven't done the flooring yet. It's probably going to be a project we're going to tackle in next year. We just don't have enough budget to do the floor. So hopefully we're able to tackle that next year. Other than that, everything else is going pretty well. We did have one house fire last Friday in the south side of town on Belmont Drive. It was an electrical fire in the attic. Had a few small car fires around town, nothing major there to report, and EMS calls have been just as busy as ever. I think last week alone we had 150 or 180 calls for service. So, okay. That's all we got. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Yule.
So just a couple of items here. We had a pre-construction meeting today on a project that's going to start out at the airport very soon. As a matter of fact, on Monday after Thanksgiving. There are three aspects of the project. One is we're going to repaint the runways, remark the runways. Two, we're going to rehabilitate the taxi lanes for the hangars on the west side of the airport. And number three, we're going to do some house cleaning and clean up a taxi lane or taxiway and runway intersection. Has been a bit of an eyesore and is not in line with standards we've needed to do for a while. But that project's going to start very, very soon. You see construction equipment out at the airport. Took a little while, but we've got the rotating light beacon repaired out at the airport. If you've been by the airport, and it looks slightly different than the one we had. It's a little brighter. Number three, on the evenings, two evenings, November 30th and December 3rd, the Army is going to invade us with some helicopters. They're going to fly from Hunter Army Airfield in Georgia, stop off here for a little bit, do some refueling on the ground, and then they're going to depart, go down to the Avon Park bombing range, and they're going to recover back to Palatka and then go back to Hunter Army Air Station. They'll be here pretty much all night. I think there's about 12 helicopters involved, including some of the noisy ones with the two rotors. So you may hear get some noise complaints. We are working to have them come in from the west over the least amount of people, least number of people, and we're keeping all of their operations out on the west end of the field where there's some trees to knock the noise down. I think we're going to be okay. But if you do hear about it, you heard about it here first.
John, tell about the helicopter business again.
Oh.
Give the-
Well, the old terminal building is now Air Florida Helicopter Tours. I forget the exact name of the company, but if anybody's interested in taking a look at the city from the air, if you've never seen Palatka from the air, it's absolutely beautiful. The way the river comes up from the south and kind of wraps around the town and goes off to the north. It really is beautiful from the air.
Captain Tobin Williams, he got something that we can see it from the air.
Ah, very good. And speaking of that, I would thank the chief and Palaka's Finest. They helped us in putting the rotating beacon up this week. So did a fantastic job. And those firemen there, and they are not scared of heights. Thank you.
One other thing before you take off, what happened to your radar test? How did that go?
They haven't been out for any of their maneuvers yet or their exercises, but they're coming.
Keep us
I'll let you know. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
People say they want to know how much the helicopter rides are, so he needs to put something out to let them know that he's here and how much they are.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Mr. Crowe.
Staying busy, sir. Building you.
Chief Shaw.
I also am staying busy, but we have a lot of things going on, and I'm going to try not to take up too much of your time, but there's some things I can't pass up on speaking with you about tonight. First, our mentoring program was able to go to Paint with a Twist in Jacksonville. We were able to take a number of kids to Paint with a Twist. It was nice, a very, very nice trip. It is on Facebook. 48 kids, thank you. 48 kids to Paint with a Twist. No, there was nothing else included with the paint.
With a twist.
That's right. Yes.
You do know, I just found out that Painted with a Twist will actually come to Palatka if you have over 20 people.
Yes, and actually that'll be coming up, but it's just the idea of being able to get the kids outside of the community to see different things. So we were able to take them to Painting with a Twist. We also will be, they will also be going on another trip to the Classic this upcoming weekend. That is all through our National PAL grant, where we're able to get the kids out of the community, see different things and explore options. Along with the Classic, they'll be touring they'll be touring Bethune-Cookman College with 62 kids. They'll be touring Bethune-Cookman College. Again, that's 62 kids. I'm sorry, Bethune-Cookman University, Professor.
I'm going to correct you. You date yourself.
So, fam, I'm sorry, I got 2 kids that go to FAMU. I apologize.
That's great school. A little bit further up.
Your report is getting long by the minute.
So we also put a video up of the Paint with a Twist as well as Trunk or Treat. It's up on the Palatka Police Department's website as well as Palatka PAL's Facebook. I'm sorry, on both Facebook pages. Captain Williams did both of the videos, very good videos. Our theme and the music that goes along with the videos is Pharrell's song Happy. And our theme that we put behind it is, it may sound crazy, but Palatka PAL is doing wonderful things with the kids in the city of Palatka. So, those are some things I couldn't go without saying. Captain Williams wants me to mention, well, I'll let him mention basketball.
Currently, our basketball program is in the registration phase. Last year, our program grew pretty significantly. We had 60 kids last year. Right now, we're at about 120 kids. Registration closes next Monday, so I'm pretty sure we're going to reach that either 160 or just around it. We also have 4 teams coming from Hastings this year versus 2 teams from last year, so we're excited about it. The season starts December 16th. We'll take a 2-week break and then we'll come back and we'll continue all the way through March. That first week of March is our championship week. So we play games on Saturdays, every Saturday from 9 in the morning to probably about 5 in the afternoon, depending on how many teams we get this year. So if you have nothing to do on a Saturday morning, you want to see some really cool things go on and at the CL Overturf Gym, come by and see us.
You still got the gown? Especially downtown.
Yes. Trunk or treat.
Yes, sir.
Trunk or treat was off the chain. No, I'm just kidding.
How many kids you guys have this year?
Trunk or treat, we had over 2,000 participants show up for trunk or treat this year. But the cool thing this year is we were prepared for that. We were ready. Last year, we didn't realize it would be such a big success, and we had to do some scrambling. But this year, we were ready for it, and it turned out to be a really, really cool event, and we only look to make it better next year.
Y'all put it on the city website too. I mean, you know.
They actually took pictures with the drones this year, and so I think those pictures are going to be awesome.
And
videos.
in the videos, you see the drone, you saw the drone.
I have a question for you. I was looking at TV the other day, and they said the school that they had to shoot in, they did the lockdown that probably saved those kids and the teachers in there. They have a training program where they had trained the kids what to do if somebody came in or did something. Have you thought about, or are you doing anything like that in case of, you hope that it never comes, but it's better to be prepared?
We have a plan that's put in place through the partnership with the school board, the county, as well as the city, the local city police departments, to where is our reaction or what the actions we take when those type of incidents occur. The school also goes through, just like they used to have fire drills back in the day for us when we would only have the issues of fire concerns, but they do the same type of drills for in-school shootings as well, so the kids know what to do, and that what we will be doing when we come through.
But it's a good way to get it over to parents too. They need to know when they send their kids out that they'll be safe. So we thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am. Two more things I want to mention right quick. One is on our Facebook page, we also have a PSA that knowing that it's the holiday seasons, but there is criminals out there that's wanting to break in everything. Please lock up your vehicles and your equipment. Nobody's exempt. Trust me when I say that. Also, we were very fortunate this year, and we had a bunch of stuff donated to the Palatka Police Department, different little toys and coloring books and things. And we took a different approach with that this year. We want to be able to get our officers out in the community and make contact with the citizens. So with that, you'll see officers out making contact with the kids, giving them different toys and stuff like that, just to spread the joy of the holiday season. So there is a lot of toys out there, and the officers' cars are stuffed with a lot of different toys. Just a little different approach from the officers and the police officers in Palatka.
Do you have a PR person?
Do we have? We have yes, we have Captain Newcomb.
The whole department.
But
I meant
as it stands, it's the
proactive approach that you guys are taking, I think, is fantastic. And I just wondered if you do. I wonder how aggressively you were in letting the public know all of those things that you're doing, and the programs that you have with the kids. And I realize you got a Facebook page, but just wondered what you do to try to put it out there aggressively so people understand that you guys are not just writing tickets and answering calls, that you're doing a ton of proactive stuff.
We've been, and it's funny that you say that, but through our PAL meetings, we've been discussing different ways that we can increase that and improve in that area. We've made leaps and bounds of being able to get that information out, but it's always areas where we can continue to improve, and we continue to look at it in that aspect. Commissioner Campbell actually handles a lot of social media for us through Palatka PAL. We go out and we speak, do public safety events, and we do as much as we can to get the word out on that aspect. Captain Williams delivers flyers to the schools, and we go to the schools as well to try to put out what we can. But we can always do more, and we do realize we can do more, and we're real receptive to different ways that we can improve.
But that was one thing, and I think Mr. Holmes brings up a good point. And that was one of the things that I talked about during budgeting, of having that person who does the public relations and the public information portion. Because all too many times, it's staff or the staff of the department or even the commission trying to disseminate that information when they're professionals who can actually do it, reach not only our folks that we're directly connected to or the folks that we're connected to through past friendships or whatever,
but that can also put that stuff out on social media, on the internet, and other media outlets, which will start to attract people to Palatka when they see those type programs. And that's the second phase of everything that's there. And so, you know, we talked about putting that item in the budget specifically for those purposes, because the programs that you guys do are definitely, there's something that we need to get out to the masses. You know, those are the kind of things that, you know, go viral. And I think once we, you know, really invest in telling our own story, then that the real picture of what Palatka is painted. So many people that come here not knowing what Palatka is, that don't want to leave because it's home. And we just got to bite the bullet and really bring somebody in whose job it is to put that stuff out. They go to those events and then they publish it as opposed to us. We continue to do things that we're doing, but they do it on a greater scale because they're the professionals. And so I definitely applaud you guys for what you're doing.
And that's a good point, Mayor, because I know we're trying to promote Palatka and Putnam County. Kirk Collier with the school board, he's looking to do a number of those type things, and he would like to partner with the city and the county as well to positively promote Palatka and Putnam County. And I think at least if we explore that option, and we can also look at that other option trying to get somebody in town.
And the way that Mr. Collier does it is he gets the kids involved. So on the campus, they take on whatever project it is, and they do all the work. So that's another way to get our kids actively excited about the future of Palatka, by them putting they take the pictures, record the footage, and all of that good stuff themselves. I'm talking about on elementary level as well.
We have a missing opportunity because the stuff that you all are doing is where awards are being given. The league gives out 3 or 4 awards on volunteer and community projects and stuff. And I hope this year that we'll get together and submit it, because nobody has done it better than you all have. That we've seen. It gets into our statewide magazines and you get some reward for it. The other thing is, I'm hoping our Palatka Daily News, young man, fingers moving over there. This is Palatka, and that's the Palatka Daily News. And if we're doing great things, people want to hear about those great things. And if you want me to come tell you about, I think we will do that. But if you promote us, then you tell more people.
Appreciate you guys, sir.
Thank you.
Amen.
Mr. Holmes.
He done got me, you know.
Ms. Jiggers. Mr. Griffith.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Obviously, we got a lot going on. I won't get into the details of every single project that we have ongoing. We are still dealing with some issues from Hurricane Irma. Mr. Reynolds, myself, and other staff members are working with representatives from FEMA to try and bring some closure to those issues. But I want to use my time to bring up kind of a project that we let fall to the back burner, something that we forgot about, just getting so busy. About a year or so ago, we decided that we were going to upgrade the public works facilities, and we've just been very busy in doing other things. The mayor, as well as Ms. Robinson, brought it to my attention that it's probably something that we need to focus on. There are multiple scenarios out there, which include investing in our current location or co-locating with Ride Solutions or other scenarios. I'd really like the Commission's support in kind of moving that forward so that we can improve the working facilities for our staff.
Absolutely.
So, just to kind of give you an update, I had an opportunity to tour the facilities over the last week or so. It's disheartening. The facility is just old, and it's, you know, and we've got to upgrade the facilities for our, you know, for our folks. Ms. Robinson was out there as well, and we're doing, and Mr. Griffith is doing the best he can with what's there, what he's inherited. which is just an old building with bad additions and a whole bunch of things that need to be torn down. And it's time for us to upgrade that facility. And we got the same issue with the police department. The police department really isn't conducive to chief being able to conduct business in the way that he wants to. They're packed in there like sardines. They're putting them in two buildings, and you know he can't do the things that he needs to do. And you can obviously see what's going on in City Hall. The way that we're conducting business, there is a better way to be more efficient. We got it. You know, when you look at the fiber, dealing with internet issues and some of these other things, the way everything's connected, in an optimal situation, we would have an opportunity to really bring everything in-house in one facility where we get maximum utility. And there's some opportunities that are out there for us to do just that, because where we are, we piecemeal it, we can spend significantly more money. You're probably looking at a project for that, just alone, you're going to be in the ballpark of $500,000 to $700,000 just on a public works facility. You could end up having a multi-million-dollar police facility based on what his needs are. And, you know, Chief has indicated that his needs may be somewhere around 15,000 square feet minimum just to do the things that he needs to do between those two buildings. It's just not there. You know, we've got the Moody Road Fire Department, which is in need of repairs as well. There's just a lot of things. City Hall, you know, we've got to squeeze in staff like sardines just to come up with a solution. The building across the street is old. There's an opportunity, a couple different scenarios that are available, but there's an opportunity to look at a building in this community that has significant acreage that may work for us, depending on the direction that the commission wants to go into. And it, you know, and the numbers work out, it may give us a chance not to spend a lot of money out of each fund. We've been looking at various scenarios for the longest, just trying to figure out how to get people in good working conditions so that we can do the best for the city on a regular basis. Our commissioners don't even have offices to meet with citizens. The commission room, our commissioner's office, well, what was once commissioner's office shared with Main Street, we pretty much use it for our training room and our conference room so that we have something that's ADA compliant. And in that building, there's not even an accessible restroom for the public. And so we've got an opportunity, I think, to look at two different scenarios that will immediately bring us out of the ice age, not put a major dent in the budget, and really get this city on sound footing. And you know, we definitely need some direction. I would ask for direction from the stuff that we've been looking at to see where the city goes.
That kind of leads into what I want to say. Jonathan, I think he said it perfectly. We get so busy to where we tend to forget. This is an issue that we've known for well over a year. So that we can keep this a priority, I think, and we haven't done this in a while, and some of you all may not feel it, but I think we need a workshop. And I say workshop to make sure that our main focus are those facilities that the mayor just spoke about, so that we can give the attention that it is due, and so that we can start to make the move that we so desperately need. I've seen the conditions of the yard, and it's completely horrible, and it's not fitting for anybody to have to go into. And as a result, I am saying for the record that we need to workshop, and we need to workshop this immediately, sometime within the next month or at least the first month of the year, so that we can have a clear focus as to the direction in which we need to go in.
Share that same sentiment about where we're at as it relates to just business function as a whole, how fragmented we are space-wise, like the mayor was saying. the condition of some of our buildings and different things of that nature. And then again, we do have a way that we could save on a lot of infrastructure costs as it relates to what we currently have right now. So I think that we should explore these alternatives. It's going to, I think, prove to be a good investment for the city.
And then I think the other thing is, with the scenarios, particularly for public works, there's going to have to be a little bit of direction because, I mean, the three different scenarios that we've talked about are, they're vast in what's there. One is building an existing site. One is looking at, creating a relationship with an existing entity within the community and building on that site. Pending approval to even work that deal. And then the other scenario is, looking at a larger building, which will allow us to house 3 different agencies in one setting, and figuring out from a number standpoint if that works. And I think we can bring those 3 scenarios into place, put some numbers together of what they are, and then kind of work off what direction is there. But they're 3 distinct programs, and I just feel like if you're gonna spend $500,000 to $700,000 on one building, you probably want to look at spending an extra $1 million or so and being able to house all your departments, 3 different departments out of there, and try to multi-fund it in order to make it work and have room for growth. And so, and you can do it in such a way that it doesn't break the bank, and the money that's coming back into the budget in 19 could actually be, what funds, and you still have additional funds out of that money to do everything you need to do. And so, that's my bill. Everybody in agreement on workshopping it?
Yes.
Workshop.
Thanksgiving Day, workshop.
Okay, so you're feeding everybody.
Oh, yeah, I will. Pop-Tarts. We're good.
Just want to put one more plug out there. We do have quite a few vacancies in Public Works right now. I think most of those positions have closed, but as always, if anybody that you know is qualified and is looking for gainful employment, please have them come see Ms. Deborah or myself. Please be mindful that it is the holiday season, and that means that we have quite a few weeks where we don't have yard debris collection. So.
I think, Ms. Robinson, that was your cue.
No, sir.
Hey, Jonathan did it for you.
Did it all for us. Appreciate it.
I think that gets us to Mr. Reynolds.
Well, I've just have a few things. Jonathan mentioned one. We had our recovery scoping meeting is what it was called with FEMA earlier this week, and we spent about 3 hours with them. I thought it was a good meeting. For this hurricane, we'll get to use FEMA's new grant portal instead of using the older project worksheets that they have. They seem confident that we might get funding quicker from this hurricane than Matthew. So we'll just have to see how that goes. We have 60 days in order to get all of the information into the grants portal in regards to assessing our damages. It doesn't mean that we have to have it repaired or we even need to know how much it's going to cost. We just have to put it in the system. So that deadline is January 14th, and Jonathan and I and Mandy will be working on getting that whole inventory in there. As Jonathan also mentioned, we're working with them on trying to get an answer in regards to the bypass that is currently still running due to damage from the storm. There's some complications with that, and hopefully they'll be able to assist us in getting an answer sooner rather than later, so we can figure out what's going to be reimbursable so that we can get work started on that fix. Earlier this week, well, even going back from that, last week I sent out an email. Our building official has let us know that he does not wish to continue his contract, gave us a 30-day notice. Earlier this week, I asked Mr. Suggs if he could get me on the County Commission's workshop agenda, and he was able to do so. So I spoke with the County Commission to see if they were amenable to entertaining the idea of entering into an interlocal agreement with the county to provide building inspection, plan review type services. And from the meeting, I gathered that the County Commission would be amenable to entertaining that. So our staff will be working with their staff to try to come up with a draft interlocal agreement that both parties can agree on, and even going into the future, I'm hopeful that that can remain in place. So even if we do have a building official in the future, should anything happen to, say, that one individual, even in the current circumstances, if Bruce was staying, if something happened to that one individual, we don't have a backup. So I feel confident that having an interlocal with the county would be a good thing for those types of services. So we'll be working on that and bringing that back to the City Commission in the near future.
Based on the current scenario, would that create any savings for us?
It could potentially, depending on exactly how the interlocal is worded. Currently under state statute, building permit revenues are restricted to certain purposes, which are tied to providing building inspection services, furthering the training of your building inspectors, that type of thing. So those revenues are restricted. Last fiscal year, we received less in revenues than what it cost us to have our building official. So depending on the way the interlocal agreement is worded, if we simply give the revenue from the building inspections or building permits to the county, it's effectively a wash. So there could potentially be some savings there.
So would you need some direction from the commission as to whether to explore interlocal or advertise the position?
I think both of those would be a good plan at this point. Exercising all of our options available to us, I would feel more comfortable. That way we're not putting all our eggs in one basket, so to say.
I'll make a motion that we entertain both advertisement and the conversation with the county.
I think that since that item's not on the agenda, we'll take it as an emergency item. I need a motion to take that as an emergency item.
Motion.
Second.
Motion on the floor, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Now, Commissioner Kennedy.
I make a motion that we entertain the posting of the job through our HR as well as the interlocal agreement, entertaining that as well with our county.
Motion on the floor, second. Any further discussion?
Question.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Commissioner Campbell.
Briefly, I just want to kind of piggyback off what Ms. Patty Sheffield was speaking about earlier. To our citizens, we are in need of volunteers in our local schools. We know the conditions of our schools. We have great people that are trying to take our schools great places. However, those that have the ability to come out, even if it's for an hour during the day or after school, to sit with our students and work one-on-one with them, we can really use that. Our kids like that kind of stuff. They feel like as if they're special and they get some kind of attention that sometimes they don't get in their homes. So I'm putting a plea out to the citizens, not only in this room, but of City of Palatka and Putnam County, to let's flood our schools and let's volunteer in our schools to get our kids in our county school district to where it needs to be. Another thing, I'm going to take this privilege being that we have Mr. Suggs in the room. I think it's about time for us to have a meeting again with our county commission. So if we can get some kind of feedback on that, or if we can go ahead and start looking into that, that would be great. We did say that we were going to do it quarterly, and we have not held up to that, so I think we need to bring it back to the table so that we can make sure that we are holding up our end of the bargain as city commissioners, and that is it.
Just one thing I didn't add to the notes, but I talked to staff earlier today, and it's in regards to one of the items that we discussed during our last joint meeting, and that is a plat for the industrial park. I know that the county and the chamber have expressed that they're concerned that should someone show up and wish to purchase some property out there, it's not platted, it's not shovel ready, it's not ready to go. And so I've spoken with staff today, and we're gonna try to address that, get with the county staff on getting something amenable to both the city and the county in place, and trying to expedite that so that it is ready for any potential developers that or purchasers that come along.
Well, I would like an update from what we previously talked about, and I think there are new things that we can potentially talk about in the future. So I think that we need to go ahead and start addressing those things, and let's really stay true to the citizens of this city and this county. We get a lot of complaints about the St. John's corridor, and I know that was one thing that we brought up. So those are things that if we can't provide a solution, let's at least provide an update to show that we are still currently trying to make those kind of things happen.
I think St. John's is squarely in the mix right now. The funding's been put in place. What really meant that was just making sure, we've got the rest of it in place. I'll let Jonathan finish the conversation.
Thanks, sir. I'm getting on Facebook hits.
Yeah.
Certainly appreciate it.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was talking to Mr. Suggs about the other issue. I believe there's a question about paving.
That was just one of my things that we've talked about previously. However, there has been no official update, and I think those kind of things are very important to ensure that, hey, we are working. We didn't just mention something, we just put it on our.
Yeah, there's actually a lot going on surrounding the St. John's Avenue corridor, and not just from State Road 19 to Ziegler. Actually, we submitted a Tiger Grant application for downtown St. John's Avenue. We're steadily working with DOT to secure municipal SCOP funding. We got 19 funding. We'll be going for 2020 funding this year. And we had a very productive meeting with County Public Works and one of their consultants regarding the extreme flooding and flash flooding that we experienced during Irma. And they're taking the lead on packaging an infrastructure improvement project and seeking the funding. They are well aware of our potable line improvements that we're planning, and they're going to package it with their project. We're going to continue seeking the funding on our end, and they're trying to coordinate that with the planned improvements that they already have funding in place for, which include the trail as well as the resurfacing. But I believe all that's going to be happening sometime around 2019.
That's what is currently scheduled. If we can move it up on the schedule, we will, but it is currently scheduled for 2019.
Everything's falling into place very nicely.
So St. John's Quarter.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, that's something that we can share with the general public, people who are tapping into us, asking us for various updates. So certainly appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Terry Suggs, County Manager. That is a topic that we discuss weekly over at the county. That is the paving project at St. John's Avenue is one that we want to try to fast track if we can, because it's been on everybody's radar for quite a while. One of the things that we found, as Johnson mentioned, during Hurricane Irma, we had some extreme flooding in those areas to the point where we were working all night trying to get flooding off of the Palatka Healthcare facility. So what we want to also do is try to address some of those drainage issues at the same time. As soon as the SCOP dollars come in and engineering all gets done, we'll start moving forward with that project. So yeah, it is certainly a project that is on everybody's radar, and we want to fast track it as much as we can. But we got to make sure that we get the infrastructure with the water and sewer lines, all the stuff out of the harm's way and back in the right of way, and also address some of the drainage issues at the same time, so we can do that. If I could, Mr. Mayor, as far as the joint meeting that was also discussed, I'm putting a calendar date out for both the city commissioners as well as the county commissioners for the month of January, so we can go ahead and get back on track with that.
Hurricane Irma certainly threw a wrench into our calendar, but we'll certainly get back on track with that because that's also a very key issue. The plat for the business park is also, I believe Mr. Holmes is working on that as well. We're going to continue working with that and see if we can get some resolution on that. And as I said to Mr. Reynolds earlier this week when he met with us at the county in regards to the billing official, whether it's a 30-day window or not, I don't think you'll be able to advertise, interview, hire a qualified candidate in that position in 30 days. So what I said to Mr. Reynolds is we would entertain the idea of an interlocal agreement that would give you the option of us providing services in any fashion that we could, whether it be on a temporary basis, whether it be a full-time basis, or as a stopgap measure, just to make sure that the city doesn't fall behind on any of their pending projects that they already have, like the Burger King project and the hospital project and things like that. And we also will work out an interlocal that would be fair for both parties. So hopefully we can, make it beneficial to where, because Mr. Reynolds is correct, we need to look out for the city as much as we can as well from the county side. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah.
A while back, and I think after we changed city managers, we had a suggestion box that we put in each one of our departments, and it came about where we got some good ideas that helped us save some money on ideas of how stuff that could be done. And I think we gave them like a $25 bonus in doing it. I'd like to see us maybe start doing that again, because the people who work in these areas and do these areas sometimes have good solutions that help us work through them that we have not noticed because we don't have anything to do. And what brought it to my attention, I don't remember if it was Denver, Colorado, or Detroit, but one of those mayors in that town has been doing that with his staff. And they have come in and brought some good ideas that have saved their city a lot of dollars and been more effective as they work. And I would like to, we could have you all think about it and see if that would be something that we could do. That's all I have.
Yeah.
Commissioner Wayne?
No, thanks.
Mr. Moore.
I'd just like to say thanks to our phenomenal staff for an excellent job that they're doing throughout the city. And we just want to give Matt some recognition with the RFQ and working with IT. I think he's doing an awesome job as he properly vetting those potential people who can come in and perform the work that they're going to be coming in to do. I'd like to thank you for that. Also, I'd like to also thank Jonathan for work you've been doing over there on, I see, some sidewalks still going in. Certainly appreciate that. Reducing our risk, different things of that nature. One other thing, if we can get that one guy on Madison Street to finish that one other piece, that'll be my Christmas gift. But that's all I have. Certainly thank you everybody for what they're doing.
We've got a couple different things. One is during the tour drive for Christmas that we talked about doing. We hope to come back with a date on that, and any commissioners who want to participate in the planning of that, get that information over to Ms. Striggers, or let me know, and we'll try to do that as far as setting up that event. I think that's going to be something big for community involvement and also attracting people into downtown during the Christmas holidays. The other part is, I think we're at a point where I was riding around downtown yesterday and I ran across Jonathan Griffith with some contractors. And you're looking at all the work that was going on all around the area, and I mean, it's busy. And it's busy, we're clicking on all cylinders, projects are up and running. We've probably got projects that will be running we've probably got enough projects to run for the next 4 years. But that's what the vision is for Palatka. Had an opportunity to talk to some developers who are looking to come in here and do various things from the housing perspective, even from the business incubator perspective. There's some new things coming to Palatka that you guys will be excited about. And you will see some building coming in very soon. Folks are coming in, seeing that Palatka has opportunity. I think with the dissolving of Hastings, it's gonna have an impact on us. But we've got to continually grow, continually be prepared for what's going on. There's a lot of momentum that's been gained over the last few years based on the cohesiveness that we have in the city. And there's an opportunity for us to continually take the lid off of the last true snapshot of what Florida is. Ecotourism is going to be major. Sports tourism is going to be major. The Booker Park project is taking off. It looks like a whole different area when you go by there. The quality of life issues that come out of that. Also, the ability to really change the dynamics of a community just through one project is going to change. Got an opportunity to talk to Major League Baseball about possible grant opportunities. We've got them coming here to do site visits on Palatka because they're excited. And folks are talking about this community, and that's what this is all about. Let's just continue to move forward, be innovative. Our race relations symposiums are taking off. People are involved. We've got 4 race study circles going on right now, and people are calling about getting involved in more. Palaka's in a very wonderful place. The gem city of the St. John's is alive. We're not a dying city. We're the what's happening city, and we're going to continue to be that. And so that's where we are, and that's what we're going to do. And I think that we've got to continue the momentum and keep the cohesiveness in place and not allow outside detractors to take away from what this community has in store. That's my report.